I wouldn't like you to think that what Claire and I are thinking about here is a sort of playway for learning. You know, here are all these lovely pretty things. All we need to do now is enjoy them. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about an absolute radical shift in the way the teacher prepares work that engages the children, and through that engagement produces products that are learning products. So that's really what this is all about. Now, I wouldn't like you to think that you need to be put off by the quality of the work that has been prepared. We know that the head of an art department has prepared this. Schools are loaded with talent. Leslie Happens, actually, she's done a touch of genius on it. I don't know if you realise, Claire. I've been nattering about a tapestry, because tapestry was my first idea, and I'm a sewer. But what Claire has, and what Leslie has invented, is a thing that's much, much more useful in its form. I don't know if either you or she realise it. By making a fresco, what Leslie has done is create a medium which the children themselves can now work on. If it had been a tapestry, there'd have been all sorts of hand sewing and stitching getting in the way. I would like to make a suggestion to you, because, you know, at some stages you may use this and some stages your colleagues may use it. You've put it onto Hessian, or begun to, and obviously they somehow do need to get joined up so that people can see what the gaps are. I gather that is the principle by which the fresco will have been developed on a wall, composed of these vignettes of life at that time, and that they're all soundly based in terms of the period, historically, aren't they? Yes. That means that as children puzzle out, you know, where this goes and where that goes, the actual materials will have to be handled. Now, they'll not stand up to a great deal of handling, and yet they should. And so I would suggest you put these not on Hessian. I don't know if the school could do it. Could make a very shallow tray. It only needs 4 pieces of wood around the edge of a table, if you've got one, and put sand in it. And lay the frescoes, the fragments of the fresco, in sand. You see, when we're preparing materials, we're preparing for the dynamics of teaching. We're not preparing a pretty thing that nobody can handle. We don't want the handling to be despoiling the material, because the material is in itself going to build more learning. And so my thought was, lie them into a sand tray, and that way they'll find their curving, you know, they'll drop in, and you know, as the children begin to work out what's missing and fill in, they can also drop their work in. I mean, I don't know how you and Leslie and Mike are going to develop using this fresco, because this is the dimension of the teaching, how it gets used. But, you see, I see these things in it. I see that it's nicely faded. Time has worked on it. You can see it, how, I mean, look at this, how the light has faded it here and there. The perspective is seemingly crude, but you look at the detail. You see the detail of tools, and the detail of the way the buildings are constructed, the detail of the stone, the sort of, well, they're flowers really, but I get the feeling of them almost in stone, and so on. So it is awfully good. And I gather you put the label on.
Yes, well, originally we thought that, as we didn't know how to assemble them, as they were sort of all turned up, that we'd have somebody find a parcel that had actually, somebody tried to paste them before. So we'd add a bit more intermediate history
Yes.
to them.
Yes.
But that was our thought. We
Yes.
haven't really thought how we
Oh, I
might.
don't think that's a fault at all. I think this is how we grow. You see the potential in this. The more you work it, you see, the more occasions you find to use this, the more you begin to say, I didn't know I could use it for that. I wasn't sure I could do it for that. Now, this label I particularly admired. I felt it's awfully good because you've done, again, you see, you've got firm, clear detail in the label like you've got firm, clear detail in this fresco, in the fragments. We know that it's 1872, that something happened to this. We know that something happened in Bristol. And we can just penetrate somebody called Lavinia, is it? You see, it's a dimension. It's very authentic seeming. So you see, you can't take that bit of material away. If you do, you lose this. What I might suggest you do is when you decide how you'll find it, because that's obviously got to be debated amongst you, because you can't find it 3 times, really. This really is on the wrapper that the stuff's in. So it's just a case of when you decide how you want to find it, you can decide how you're going to wrap it. You can then decide how this will be the outer wrapper. Now, you might feel, I must know exactly how that label got on there. Now, my advice in terms of dimension teaching is, don't be bothered over that. All you need to know is you've created the potential of mystery with enough information to resolve it. That's exactly what these pictures do. There's enough of bait in it to make it worth trying to puzzle out a bit more. Use hypotheses, you see. So, pondering on who this Lavinia, whatever, is, must have been in Bristol, is a dimension aspect of it. So, it's absolutely thrilling, and some children are going to have a great pleasure, I think. And I hope struggle working with it. You can't have it solved easy, you see. And how it comes to have been in this Lavinia What's-It is for the children to work out. There might be a class that ponders on that in some way. Again, with the language of hypothesis. In the English curriculum, it is stated that a very large variety of kinds of talk should be made available to the children. Well, here is an example. The example of hypotheses. How did it get to be like this? Who took it off? What might have happened? What might have happened in historical imprinting, if that's what we want to think about? Is it workmen who had to hide it because they let it fall off the wall and, didn't let anybody know they'd actually destroyed it in 1872? Or did somebody buy the building and, have it taken off, and this woman somehow found it? There are all these languages. Drama is one of the most simple ways, efficient ways, in which the variety of languages the national curriculum is expecting of us to do with children is so easy to inject, because the contexts are all there.